Here we go. We have done it. We have made it. Sit down. This is the demand. It's not a request. I demand that you sit down. I insist that you relax, and I am imposing a good time on you. Because why wouldn't it or shouldn't it be a good time? It's Friday. Welcome to the weekend, except for those of you who might be at work or on your commute home from work. Now, if you're watching this and you are either of those things, it means that you are enjoying this episode in the future. So in some way, this show is happening in your past. And why is that? Because it is not 9 o'clock p.m. It is 6:06 p.m. I am James. You are you. We are here for the first ever dinner edition of At Home with James. This is episode 293. I don't know why I said it like that. If I could take it back, I would. If I could restart this show and do that entire intro over again and just eviscerate my pronunciation of the word three, I would do it. Maybe it's because I'm out of sorts. Maybe I'm not used to this sort of thing. There's a reason I stopped doing the Saturday night special. There's a reason I stopped doing the Sunday morning special. Remember those shows? You probably don't. We did it for what? I don't know, 3 months. I couldn't get into the groove of things. This show is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday show. Of course, it's Friday, but right now, the tone and the mood is different. It's not as feisty as it usually is. You know, the sun goes down, the sunglasses come off, people unbutton, maybe they unzip. Things get a little crazy, a little wild, right? In the evening hours, the tone and the attitude changes. And the question is, why, James? Why is this show happening 3 hours in advance from its usual time slot? Folks, here's the deal. After over a year and a half, I am getting back on stage to do live comedy. And I thought to myself, well, I guess we're not going to do a Friday show. Then I thought, is it really fair to take the show away from people that they don't care that I'm going to be on stage entertaining dozens of people? Why did they have to suffer for my fun? Sure, as of 8 o'clock p.m., I will be at Mainline Theater in the heart of the plateau, corner of Saint Laurent and Duluth, right beside Cinema L'Amour, where you can have as much fun as anyone could being unzipped. Second unzipping of the night. But beside is Mainline Theater, a venue I have a lot of history in, whether it's doing plays, doing some improv. Heck, I have even competed in a number of professional wrestling matches at Mainline Theater. And tonight I get back on stage for Montreal Improv, not to be confused with Montreal Improv, Indie Night. Going to be on there with my big, bald buddy, Mark Rowland. Here's the thing. We can't do any of our greatest hits. We can't tussle on stage. He can't lift me up. 2-meter rule. So what we are going to do is the finest of the finest social distanced comedy. But in order to prepare for that, not only do I use this show as my warm-up, but we stay on track as we get closer and closer, inch by inch, towards this milestone 300th episode, which is slated to take place in a number of weeks. So whether you're eating dinner, whether you're done dinner, it doesn't matter to me. I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this first and quite possibly only 6 p.m. edition of this show. So why don't we kick it off in high gear? When I was booking this show, I knew that I needed to find people who could be here at the time of the show. And then it occurred to me, let's put our hands into the pool of talent in the west coast of Canada, where it's only shortly after 3 o'clock p.m. Folks, from the waist up, She looks like she's part of a 70s TV show. Got some pigtails, looks cool. From the waist down, she is shamefully wearing flannel pajamas. Let's welcome a true at-home icon. It is Taylor McMillan. Taylor, good afternoon.
Hi, James. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. I hope that you don't take any umbrage with the fact that I have outed you as being pajama clad, because I'm gonna take a stab in the dark here. I believe that you changed your shirt to be on this show.
I absolutely did, for sure.
Okay, so prior to coming on air, what were you wearing? Big sweater. Big sweater?
No sweater. I was wearing a sports bra, changed my bra too, and a big baggy shirt and some pajama pants.
Okay, so you had a big baggy shirt on. Did it have like a logo on it? Did it have a slogan? Because I'm imagining something that says like, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee, and it's like an XL.
Gotcha. Yeah. It was just old and stained.
Okay, so you're wearing a dirty, aged shirt. You had a sports bra on, and you were wearing pajamas. Did you have slippers on?
No, just some socks.
Just some socks. So you changed your shirt, and it's all for naught because now we've really gotten into and exposed the true Taylor McMillan.
Yeah, I'm ashamed, but also I feel a little bit of relief because now I can just be who I am, which is a disgusting clothes wearing normie.
Well, I'll tell you what, I wanted to bring you here for a couple of reasons. One, because I knew that you would have no excuse not to be here. I have plans. I got this middle of the day. I knew that you were at home. You're sitting in front of your big plant. I don't believe you've ever come to us from this location in your home. But the second reason I wanted to bring you here is I need a friend. I need help. And I didn't really know who else to turn to. Now, this is heavy, right? The mood is different at this time. I know that you're a straight shooter. Is that fair to say, Taylor? Would you consider yourself a straight shooter?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Would you say that you tell it like it is?
I try my best. Yeah.
All right. I needed someone who's going to tell it like it is because I've been noticing something, and it's as early as this past Wednesday. I had Joe Conto on the show. I said I would like for him to be part of this year's pumpkin carving contest, which you were a judge in last year. Mm-hmm. He said, now get a load of this. He said he doesn't trust that I won't do something to embarrass him. And I thought about that. I thought, I've got people thinking that I'm going to embarrass them. But at the same time, people on this show, they come on the show and they make fun of me. You've made fun of me on this show. And I'm starting to wonder, what is it about me that makes people do these things? Because in my eyes, when I look in the mirror, I wake up in the morning just like everyone else. I pull off my blanket. I pull off the sheet. I get out of bed. I stagger to the bathroom. I splash some water on my face. Look in the mirror, eye to eye, and I go, that's a pretty good guy. But it seems like that's up for debate. So, Taylor, I want to ask you a very simple question.
Okay, I'm ready.
What are some words you'd use to describe me? Now, be honest, right? You can make fun of me. You've done it before. I just want a few words. What would you say to describe me?
This is a very interesting question. I'm honored that you asked me and you trust me to relay some honest information. James McGee, I think affable, strange, kind.
Okay.
Maybe a little aloof. Some people might say wienery. I wouldn't use that word. I would say maybe, I don't know, maybe a little weird.
Well, I want to examine something. You in this exercise, you said weird, but also strange. Now, it feels like you're kind of beating a dead horse there. Well, let's not just brush past the fact that you said wienery. Not your words, though. Are you telling me that people think that I'm a wiener?
Well, I feel like you've self-described yourself as a little wiener a few times.
I have never described myself as a wiener.
Maybe you don't describe yourself as a wiener, but you often will invoke the way that you think other people feel about you, and you'll say,
I don't think that I have ever. I've never asked.
You do it all the time. You constantly do it. You constantly say, I'm sure people are thinking, look at this little wiener man.
I don't think I've ever thought that other people, I think I'm pretty manly. Sure, I walk down the street. I'm 5'10", $135 at my heaviest, but inside, I am like a Roman Adonis. I walk down the street with the big dogs.
I'm gonna straight shoot you here, James. You're not 5'10". I've met you. I've stood beside you. I'm 5'9", and there's no way you're over 5'7.5". There's just no way.
Okay, so a couple days ago, another guest was on the show, and they said that I was 4'8".
Oh,
now you're giving me credit by saying that I'm 5'7". I am 5'10". You're 5'9", and that means I have 1 inch on you.
The truth is hard to reconcile when you believe something's wrong.
The truth is hard when it's not the truth. Now, coming in from the chat, courtesy of what a username, Mr. Cans, they write, quote, "This is sadder than that Chernobyl show." Okay, hold on now. Let's go back. Also in the chat from our friend High Score Run, quote, "Splitting hairs. This was in reference to you calling me strange and weird."
Well, wait. I just have a question here.
Was that necessary?
Listen,
I asked you to be a straight shooter, right? I shouldn't be defensive.
Maybe I should have asked you a question like, what are you wanting to get at? Like, what is the issue that you need to ask me about? Like, why is this coming up for you?
Well, I guess I'm just wondering, on some level, am I putting out an energy that makes people think that I'm looking to humiliate them in pumpkin carving contests?
Well,
and
this is interesting, actually. Now I remember. It's only Joe that we make fun of, and it's not just you. Joe I bet he was a little wiener kid, and it's been left over into adulthood, and that's why we make fun of him.
Well, I hope that Joe is not watching this right now, because I assure you he will take that worse than I took being allegedly 5'7", which is not true. And folks, if you're out there and you're wondering, is James 5'7"? You can see for yourself tonight, 8 p.m. at Mainline Theater. It's Montreal Improv's Indie Night, where I'll be performing with my big bald friend, Mark Rowland. Now, Taylor, let's get back into it. Okay. You mentioned that people make fun of Joe, but I don't know if you've noticed around these parts, they like to give the old man a hard time. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's kind of like a pack mentality, you know? Everybody kind of picks on the weakest one. Maybe that's something. Yeah, when I worked at a chicken farm, if there was like a little baby chick and that chick was different, all the other chicks would peck it.
Right. So you think that if this show were a chicken farm, everyone's a chicken, right? You're a chicken, Dimitri, Andy, maybe Steph, Dave, right? Alex Brown.
Not to make like a silly pun, but you can see the pecking order there,
Yeah,
right?
all these people are chickens, and I'm a chicken too. And you think that I am this puny wienerish chicken that people are like, let's go give this chicken a hard time. Here's a chicken we can bully.
Well, you are the smallest out of all of us, so that makes sense.
So you think that people have decided to systematically take me down a notch because they look at me as the small one?
Well, and then also, I mean, that, and also you know, you're in a position of power. You're the host of the show.
Mm-hmm. You would call hosting this mildly viewed internet talk show, quote, a position of power?
You're right. That's ridiculous. I take it back.
You see, you hear that embarrassing noise? Even Devin, our production assistant, is picking on me.
James, you know,
now, would this really be a position of power when I'm having fart noises imposed on me? People think that James planned this. Yeah, I planned these these immature sophomoric fart noises in my own show.
Well, I mean, James, you also have to look inside and see, like, how did I create this environment?
Okay, that's a great question.
Right?
That's
Devin has been your production assistant for some time now. It's not the first time that I've heard him making fart or sad noises about you or to you. And if you have let this environment foster and grow, you're basically you're slating yourself in that own position, right?
So you think that this is my own doing? I have created the culture that provides people the time and space to tease me a little bit. Now, can I ask you another question? Do you think, quite possibly, maybe, just maybe, they tease me because they like me?
Oh, like he's only mean to you because he has a crush on you, like guys pull pigtails on the playground sort of thing?
Wait, that's a real thing?
Yeah. I don't think that's what...
Yeah, is it possible? Okay, so no one has a crush on me. I want to go to the chat right now. This is from Naive Adventures, quote, everyone on the show is some sort of chicken. Sometimes it's the guest picking on James. Sometimes it's James picking on the guest. And sometimes it's the viewers picking on the guest and James.
Mostly James, though.
Yeah,
she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
Yeah, it's true. You know, I'm learning a lot. And this is precisely why I brought you on, because I knew that you would really give it to me straight. Now, I think there's truth to that last comment in the chat, right? This whole segment started off with me picking on you and forcing you to admit that you were wearing filthy clothes. So it's like a real give and take, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get as much as you got, but that also makes sense, right? So,
yeah. Wait, why does that make sense?
Well, because I'm higher up on the pecking order.
You're higher on the pecking order on my show.
Yeah.
Where am I on the pecking order? Don't tell me I'm at the bottom. Well, look, I wanted to again bring you on to be truthful. As we begin to wind things down, Taylor, I don't know if you know, but I'm going to be performing in a show tonight at 8:00 p.m. at Mainline Theater. It's in the heart of the plateau. I'm going to be performing with Mark Rowland. And I haven't gotten on stage in a really long time. February 2020. Taylor, do you have any words of wisdom for me?
Oh, I mean, do you have any shoes with like a bit of lift?
Do I have any shoes with a bit of lift?
Yeah.
Well, I have
like a small heel, maybe.
I have a pair of Vans that I intended on wearing, much as I do every day. Why?
Like platform Vans?
Platform Vans? No. Yeah, coming in from the chat right now, we've got maybe high heels. What's this in rep? No. Also coming in from the chat, ask for a step ladder or a regular ladder. See, this is the problem with this. Everyone is going to leave this thinking that I'm 5'7".
So, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. It was just a good one. It was a good.
You're laughing at me. So you're saying that I should wear tall shoes tonight to appear taller than I am. Maybe
if like, you could also blow dry your hair like up to give you a bit more height.
So I should give myself a blowout like Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
So your words of wisdom for someone getting back on stage, putting themselves out there for everyone's judgment and criticism with the hope that you can entertain them and put a smile on their face. Your tip is to wear platform shoes and blow dry my hair so I can appear taller than I am. That's your advice.
James, look, you know, I've met Mark. I've performed with Mark. Mark's I wouldn't want you both to get up on stage and it to be like a twins situation, like an Arnold and Danny DeVito situation. You know what I mean?
You know, you can't compare me to Danny DeVito.
Well, you're pretty much the same height.
Danny DeVito is, I think, 5'1".
Yeah, I mean, pretty close.
Oh. You know, I think back to all those years ago when I remember there's a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed youngster named Taylor McMillan who walked up the steps at 3697 Boulevard Saint Laurent, which is just a couple blocks away from Mainline Theater, where I'll be performing at 8:00 tonight. And she said, "I'm here to take level 1 improv." And I said, "I'm going to be your teacher." Could you imagine in those times of teaching, when you do a scene, it's like, let's pause that. Let's do some feedback. And the only notes I give you are physical ones.
I mean, James, what would you say?
I'd say physically, you are the way that you should be, which is the way that God made you. Let's talk about the scene work, because that's just the type of guy I am. I don't talk about people's bodies, whether they're tall or short, an Arnold or a Danny. You know, when someone asks me for advice, I tell it like it is, just like you have.
Yeah, you're right. It's tough to critique people on things they can't change. But do you remember what you were wearing the first time that you taught me in level 1?
Do I remember what I was wearing anywhere 6 to 7 years ago?
I remember.
Yeah, I don't. Would you like to? Yeah, let's continue talking about my body.
Yeah, well, not your body, just things you chose to adorn your body with. I think you had giant mutton chops, and you were wearing one of those like Andean like toques. It has like a puff, a string or a puff on the top, and then it has 2 ear flaps with little. It was a Habs one.
Yeah, I still have that. Yeah, it's a toque. Yeah.
You probably were wearing pants because it was in wintertime, but they're very baggy. Yeah, some hideous flannel, maybe a stained t-shirt underneath. You've gotten better, James. You look great now.
Well, thank you so much. Before we let you go, and I wouldn't do this. This is just speaks to the level of my character, so you can have a laugh. Coming in, just a barrage of suggestions from, once again, Mr. Cans in reference to what I can do to, I guess, pull a sleight of hand to present as if I'm taller than I am. Quote, maybe add a false ceiling or have Mark stand further back. A tiny chair or a stool could work too. Well, Taylor, look, I have to thank you for being so open and honest in your responses to the questions that I asked. I appreciate it. I'd like to think that I took your criticisms, either constructive or otherwise, quite well.
Yeah, I think you did a great job.
Well, I appreciate that. I bid you adieu. I wish you the best of luck in the rest of your afternoon, and try to keep those pajama pants that you're wearing as clean as possible.
Well, thanks so much for having me, James.
That's Taylor McMillan. And this is the thing sometimes, folks, when you ask, your family or your friends to be open and honest and truthful with you is that sometimes the truth hurts, right? But here's the thing. That only tends to be true when it's the actual truth. You don't think that I know what's going to happen now? I can see it. I can hear it. People are going to insist that I'm 5'7". Here's the thing. I have no issue if you are 5'7", or if you're 7'5", or if you're 4'2". It doesn't matter to me. What I don't love is that misinformation was presented and spread so confidently that people will believe it. Now, I'm the first to admit that I'm one to lean up against the wall or lean down on a chair, get my leg up like I'm a sea captain trying to guide his ship into port. I don't do a lot to really present my true and authentic height. But I assure you that I am 5'10". In fact, I went to the doctor weeks ago where they not only took my weight, but my height. I didn't go to the doctor so they could confirm how tall I was. That's the last thing that I want to spread right here. Thought I had ringworm again.
You
no dice.
Suck.
I choose not to acknowledge that. Folks, a couple nights ago, we had the first ever Kids Corner on At Home. Why were we doing this? I want for this show to reach a broader audience. I would say that our key demographic is somewhere from 29 to 60. And what I really want is the kids crowd. Who knows? Maybe along the way, we find some real success appealing to the youth and the youngsters out there. So what did we do? I had our production assistant, Devin, reach out to a lot of family and friends, people that we know who have children. And he has curated a great variety of drawings and cartoons. This was really heartwarming and wonderful the other night. So what I want for you to do, if you're only listening to this show as you're cooking your soup and sandwich, I want you to bring your attention and your eyes to your screen right here on twitch.tv/@home-with-James, because this is going to be another true happening. It is Kids Corner on At Home, and we are going to look at some kids' drawings. Now, if you're hearing this blues track, this is also courtesy of a youngster. A young man who plays guitar has sent in this song, a phenomenon of music. So we're going to pull some of these drawings up and we are going to look at these. I couldn't be more excited. So here we go. This is Kids Corner with some lovely drawings sent in by the youth. So this is a nice one. We've got, looks like a nice furry lion, and we've got a duck, and that's kind of funny. Look at the beak. It looks just a little bit phallic. Now, I cannot distinguish the name at the bottom of this drawing. Diehaus? D-I-H-A-U-S? That might be a Z or maybe a 7. And it looks like the duck might be speaking some type of profanities. I'm not quite sure. In the chat, we've got the name is Daphne. I think it's Diehaus. So this is a fun one. We've got clearly an animal fan here. So Diehaus, I want to thank you so much for sending in this lovely lion and this really cute duck as the image gets blown up on the screen right now. Let us go on to our next drawing right here on the Kids Corner live on At Home. I can't wait for this one. Look at that. It's apropos. It's dinner time and this looks like a nice plate of food. We've got a carrot straight from the farm. Looks like an olive above it, pitted or unpitted, pimento or otherwise, I'm not sure. Look at that, a whole fish. I guess this family just went fishing. And then beneath that, looks like a hot dog. And this one comes from, I'm going to say this is Julia, but this might be Julir, Julier, 5 years old, and it's dinner time. And wouldn't you know it, dinner is misspelled. Classic kid thing, misspelling dinner. This says diner time, and diner time is one word. Let's move on to our next drawing. Thank you so much, Diner, for the drawing. Oh, well, this one's fun. Look at this. It says cowboy boot with cow poop. Now, we know that kids say the darndest things, right? They also draw the darndest things. And this one comes to us from Candy, 9 years old. And as you see, this boot, it's got some looks like a series of poppies along the side of the boot. And wouldn't you know it, it comes as advertised. Look at those scratching marks. It's cow poop, and then in the back you see at the top moo. So I guess this drawing takes place on a farm. Thanks so much, Candy, for the cowboy boot with cow poop on it. Let's move on to our next drawing right here on the kids' corner. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Cool sunglasses. And this one comes to us from 28-year-old Danica. Well, this, I mean, I'm happy to show any artist drawing. This is a 28-year-old drew these sunglasses. They look like sunglasses, but if you were to drop your sunglasses on the street and then a car ran over them, like they're real flattened out. And you know what they are? They are cool. So, Danica, I guess you weren't aware that this is for kids only, but I appreciate you sending this in. This one comes from 28-year-old Danica. Thanks so much, Danica. Let's move on to our next drawing right here on the dinner time edition of At Home with James. Well, would you look at that? Now, this one's pretty fun, don't you think? This one says, our bus driver, Darren. Darren looks angry, long hair, a beard, and apparently Darren is a little smelly, so he's got stink lines and mosquitoes or flies flying around Darren. And then there's a youngster behind Darren, the bus driver, apparently named Joey Baffins, and Joey's saying, ah, and he's vomiting all over the bus. Now, I hope that Darren doesn't see this drawing. I think Darren would be pretty angry. He'd be pretty stinking angry. So I don't know if this comes to us from Joey Baffins, but thanks so much, Joey, for sending this in on the Kids Corner. Let's move on to our next drawing right here live on Twitch. Well, this is another interesting one. This one says, tattoo I gave my buddy Carmine, and it comes from Phil Cormier. This one comes with no age. This one's a pretty good drawing. As you can see on the bicep of what I assume is Carmine's arm, we've got a cross that appears to be glowing, and underneath reads murder. Then on the wrist, I guess Carmine is a fan of REO Speedwagon. So Phil Cormier, you gave your friend Carmine, who I guess has a real hairy shoulder and bicep area, a couple tattoos that read murder and REO Speedwagon. Well, Phil, I want to tell you something. I know that your buddy Carmine is an REO Speedwagon, so this might speak to the both of you. I'm not going to be able to stop loving this drawing. I'm going to keep on loving it, just like REO Speedwagon. Let's move on to our final drawing as we begin to wrap this sucker up on the Kids Corner. Oh, God. So this one's called Monster Truck Mania, And this one's from Jeremy, who is 5 years old, 5 ans. This is a monster truck sponsored by Boreal. And it looks to be running over a smaller vehicle that's got a person trying to escape for their dear life. And this person is saying, yikes. And the car is saying crunch. And this Boreal sponsored monster truck is saying yum. Well, Jeremy, I want to thank you so much for sending this drawing in. And I want to thank all of our kids, minus Damika, who is 28 years old, for their just wonderful pieces of art. Don't stop sending in these drawings. We want to showcase all of the youngsters of Montreal and their art live on Twitch whenever we can. That has been the Kids Corner. Before we move on to our final segment of the night, it is important to remember that we will be back this coming Monday, 9 p.m., back to where we truly belong, where the sun goes down, the night falls, and the crazies come out to play. That will be episode 294. Who is going to be here? Dave Kaufman. And that is right here where the show always takes place, because it will never, ever go away. Twitch.tv/@homewithjames. Let's welcome our final guest this evening. He's got to follow up the Boreal sponsored monster truck, the one and only restaurateur himself, Dimitri Kyres. Dimitri, welcome to the weekend. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, hey, James. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too. How's the day treating you?
Not very good.
Why is that?
I'm in a bit of a bad day there, James.
Tough day at the marathons.
Yeah, I guess you could say tough day at all the marathons.
How many locations are you up to right now?
12.
Right, so that is a much larger number than I would have guessed. Folks, for those of you who don't know, Dimitri has kind of put his performance career on hold as he has purchased and opened what looks to be 12 marathons franchises. Not only is he running and operating the business, he's also the head chef.
Yeah.
Dimitri, how come you're having a tough day?
Well, I'll tell you what, the autumn themed version of marathons that we pitched last week.
Yep.
They burned it down.
They burned it down. Who burned it down?
The customers. They burned it down.
Okay, so a couple days ago, you opened up kind of a roadside autumn-themed marathon.
Yeah,
you and I worked on it.
Yeah, we worked on it together. So you're partly to blame, if not maybe the entire version, entirety.
I think the only people worth blaming are the people that set your barn ablaze. You're saying the customers burned it down.
They burned it down to the ground, man, and it was because, you know why? It was that $1 million.
Why is that?
It was that $1 million grilled cheese that you told me to add to the menu. One customer bought it, paid in full $1 million. I arrive. I nobody's supposed to buy this.
Did they pay in cash?
Cash.
Debit or okay?
With a briefcase. This big baller shot caller monsieur. He showed up with $1 million cash in 3 suitcases. He paid the man, and here I am. I bring him a grilled cheese. And I'm just a Greek restaurateur. What am I don't know any recipe. I only know Greek recipes. And I show up and I cut the sides off for him and I say, bon appetit.
Did he ask for the sides to be cut off?
That was, my interpretation. I was trying to elevate the dish. You know how I always try to elevate the dish.
Well, yeah, prior to that, what was advertised was that it was old and aged cheese, but also old bread.
Everything old. And this gentleman, he bit into the sandwich and he projectile vomited onto all of his entourage.
He had an entourage with him?
I said he was a big baller shot caller, this monsieur. And so I unpack all of my pockets, trying to find a napkin for this gentleman, because of course the dish does not come with napkin. And I could not find anything. And this man, he is very mad at me. Extremely furious. I give him the money back.
Can you describe this man? You said he was a big baller, shot caller type of monsieur.
Enormous.
You said he was enormous. How tall?
Well, tall for you is probably 6 feet, right? That's like monstrous.
How tall do you think I am, Dimitri?
You're like, The gymnast from Ocean's 11.
Well, I'm not familiar with that movie. How tall is the gymnast from the film Ocean's 11?
Very small. He can fit in small places. This is his thing. He's very malleable. And he can crunch like a paper ball, and he can fit into a large briefcase, but can get into discrete areas. This is his...
So you're telling me that you think I am so short that I could fit into a briefcase?
Isn't that like your thing? Is it what else is that's your like call to fame, isn't it? That you're the small
Yeah, my
guy.
call to fame is that I fit into briefcases. Okay, so this man was enormous. He was vomiting because you sold him spoiled food.
Yeah.
Take us through what happened next.
This man grabs me by my throat and raises me 7 feet off the ground.
What does he say?
He says, "Listen to me, you Greek bastard.
Oh.
Listen here, you Greek bastard. You say, give me my money back?"
Well, I'm sorry to hear that that's the type of language that he used towards you. That's unkind.
It's okay. I kind of liked it.
It's okay.
I like,
I liked it.
Well, he knew right away I was Greek, which is kind of, I don't know. It was, we don't have, it was kind of cool. Anyway, I just like that.
So wait, you were just happy that he correctly identified you as Greek?
Yeah, sometimes I get Italian, So anyway, I thought that was an acute perception from the gentleman. Apart from that, though, he raised me up. He says, first and foremost, you're going to give me my money back. I said, done deal, my friend. He says, second, this place is getting burnt to the ground. I say, it's okay, 12 is a lot. And then thirdly, he says, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Right.
You have failed as a restaurateur.
He's holding you this whole time?
He's holding me.
Are you in the air?
Yes, my feet are dangling off the side of a pier.
He's holding you up like so.
Through my neck.
He's insulting you for being Greek.
Yes.
He wants his money back, and he says that you should be ashamed.
Yes. He said, you should be ashamed of yourself. You have not only failed as a restaurateur, you have failed at being a Greek person.
Well, how did you respond to that? Do you feel like a failure is a Greek person?
I'll tell you what I did, James. He let me down. I got my air. I filled up a giant swimming pool of tzatziki, and I said, I'm going to throw myself into it and call it a day. I'm going to kill myself.
That's a really dark thought, right?
Yeah, that's why I put this sad music on.
Now you're telling me, look, I mentioned it off the top. Things are different when we do this show during the day. This feels really, really powerful. You're telling me that you were ready to, I guess, cross over to the other side of the Rainbow Bridge by jumping into a pool of thick and creamy tzatziki sauce?
I've already ran the math. The garlic and the lemon juice and the chives will melt my skin clean off.
Okay, well, I have a couple questions.
Okay, sure.
Is this an above or underground pool?
It's an above ground pool. I cannot afford an in-ground pool.
Wait, you purchased the pool just for this?
Yes.
Now, are you making the tzatziki?
It's store-bought.
Okay, well, how many? Because usually tzatziki comes in not the biggest of containers, right? How many containers have you purchased to fill up an above ground pool?
It's a lot of tzatziki. So at least 2 pallets. So roughly 120 packs of tzatziki sauce. But the guy was at the cash was nice, and he gave me a deal on the last 12.
Oh, that's very nice. How long is it taking you to fill up the pool?
How long does it take?
Yeah.
Took me all day.
Wait, that's the pool behind you?
I'm right. I'm just leaning up against the. I'm ready to slip right in, basically.
Now there's something that's come in from the chat, and I want to warn you. This might require a trigger warning, Dimitri.
I'm so numb, but I don't know. It could take one more comment, and it could push me over the edge. Again,
maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should.
No, it's important to always. The customer's always right, and I take that to my grave. So,
well, this one comes in from Taylor McMillan, who was on the show before.
Yeah.
She writes, "Quote." Now, I hope you're relaxed.
Hold
maybe
on.
Yeah, maybe you are a bad Greek, store-bought, in reference to the tzatziki.
Who said this?
This was Taylor, who was on the show. Now, Dimitri, between you and me,
This is the woman with the beautiful red shirt with the pigtails.
yeah,
She said that.
she said maybe you are a bad Greek, store-bought. Now, Dimitri, I just want you to know, I understand how you're feeling. She was on before. She called me a wiener.
Yeah.
She called me strange. She called me a weirdo. But I'll tell you what.
Guys like us, James,
Yeah.
why we have to eat shit on a plate?
Right?
I am only guilty of one thing. Trying to connect to my Greek heritage by purchasing all of the the Morelatos and all the marathons in Montreal, greater Montreal area.
Look at me. What am I guilty of? What are my crimes? Being myself?
Small.
Dressing how I choose to? Being comfortable in my own skin? 5'7"? I don't think so.
You're huge. Inside your chest.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
You're huge, man. I've seen you. You're like a big minotaur in the labyrinth of Pethos.
And you know what you
all
are?
over Athens and you say whatever you want and you're a funny man.
And you're a visionary of the culinary arts.
I'm a monster man.
No, look at me. You take risks when lesser men would play it safe.
I just wanted to make a big ham soaked in rum and call it a handful of ass. Because I think when people have food, it should be fun. I just want people to know that there's napkins available on the menu. And sometimes I think food should come with cutlery, and sometimes not. And
Dimitri, I know you're at the end of your rope. But I want to make a proposition to you. Don't jump in that pool. Don't. I want you to go into your kitchen. I want you to turn on the grill, grab a skillet, chop up some chunks of chicken, turn the oven on, heat up some pita bread.
No!
I want you to dice up some cucumber, some onion. I want you to get that chicken real nice. And I want you to take, Dimitri, no. I want you to take that pita and I want you to take it to the pool and I want you to dip the sandwich into the pool.
James, I love you to death. But how about one more recipe for you?
What?
How about one more recipe for you?
What's that?
The James Extravaganza.
What's the item?
Extra deluxe with pita, cream cheese, green sauce, white sauce, napkin. And you know what? As much bread as you want. Doesn't matter.
Just sounds a little too saucy.
I can't hear you.
No, Dimitri, don't.
Tell them I die not a Greek man, but a restaurateur.
Man, that tzatziki current really took him away.
He's burning my skin.
Dimitri, it's not too late. Just
It's too late. It's too late.
wow. again, coming in from the chat, courtesy of the #1 truth teller, Taylor McMillan, quote, "That's what you get when you don't make it at home." Folks, that's our show. If you're keeping score at home, that's the second Dimitri character that's passed away in the history of this show. Both of which have drowned. This is what I was talking about. The mood is different before the sun goes down. Things are a little bit comme ci, comme ça. Folks, I don't need to thank you, but I must thank you for coming on this journey with us. Whereas we usually travel into the night sky, today we enjoy the late afternoon into the early evening. A breeze comes in through my living room window, and it will soon whisk me down the stairs of my apartment complex, down the street, down the stairs of Station Lie-Nelgrou, into the metro, where I take a long and arduous journey to Mainline Theater on the corner of Saint Laurent and Duluth, where I will be performing improv with my big friend, Mark Rowland. But before I leave, I must dedicate that performance to the memory of Dimitri the restaurateur. We knew him, we loved him, and in some ways we tasted him. So with that, I say to you that I am James, you are you, we were here. Good night, goodbye, farewell, and of course, be well. We'll see you on Monday.